Obviously, we're going to allow everybody to introduce themselves. There are a lot of panelists tonight, so we'll go down the line. Honest, you can go first.
You're going to start with me?
Yeah, you go first. You can stand up.
I did it last time, I think, so we're switching it up.
Alright, what's up guys? This is Ilias, and today's video is sponsored by Tapped AI. Just have a little bit of a break where we're going to be going over an app that can help you create a world tour through your iPhone. There's already thousands of users on the app that are using this and getting booked and getting paid to do shows, apply to perform, and also find the right type of venues that they can get booked at. And so for example, you go on the app, you have a search bar where you're able to look through a bunch of different opportunities and apply, and then look at a bunch of different venues and performers. And then on top of that, you're also able to use the mass outreach button where you're able to find the right venues for your specific sound. You find the city, you type in the city. Let's say for example we do Washington DC, and once we do Washington DC, let's say these are all my genres as a performer, and these are the types of genres that I'm looking for the venues, and let's say my capacity is 1,000. And now in less than 20 seconds I identified 35 venues in that area, and all the contact info is for free as well, and I could look at reviews and booking history. And then I click confirm and I write a message right here, and once I write that message, the AI will go ahead and make it more clean for me, and it'll send this information right here where it shows your follower count on all your socials. It looks at your booking history, the places you performed at before, your genres, and why you would be a good fit to perform there. And in less than 10 seconds after I write all that, it contacts all those venues, and I'm able to establish a line of communication with them and then be able to get paid and get booked for shows. You can download it now on Tapped AI on the App Store. Make sure to check it out. Back to the interview.
I know most people, or I've introduced myself to most people, and if not, I also remember a lot of you guys from the Tech Week event that we ran last month. But I'm Johannes, I'm the CEO and founder of Tapped, so the leading live music analytics company. Ilias is in charge of getting the company known, and I'm in charge of keeping the wheels running in the company. So I do a lot of the technical development. So if you have any questions like music, tech-y related, even when especially if it gets really technical kind of questions, that I'm probably the guy.
Hi everyone, I'm Roman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Groover. We're a music promotion platform that's helping artists to reach out to music, playlists, radios, blogs, influencers. We guarantee feedback for artists, but also like more promotion, more visibility. I come from France, but I moved to the US like 4 months ago. Actually, very close to here. So very happy to be here and discuss about like topic around music promotion and artist services.
Hi everyone, I'm Faris, CEO and founder of Cypher, a sync licensing marketplace. So any questions about licensing, music and media, music tech and sync, happy to answer.
Hi, Alicia Outridge. So I'm a Chief Technology and Product Officer of Byte & Chord. I've been in the music tech industry for longer than I'm willing to admit on a dating profile. So let's just say that I've been in machine learning, building out personalization recommendation engines in AI at AOL Music, iHeartRadio when it was transitioning to iHeartMedia, and I'm the ex-CTO of TuneCore. So I've been working and building out new business models in the music industry for the last decade. And now, as at Byte & Chord, I've been focusing on AI and machine learning and building out the ways so that musicians and creatives across the industry and the music tech industry can use it to make money. So bring in the money to the music industry. I'm like Robin Hood.
Hello everyone, my name is Brian. I'm the head of data entry for Tapped, so any questions about data management for music or how we can collect music data optimally, I would be the person to ask, and great to see everyone again.
Hi y'all, I'm Shira, founder and CEO of Gritty and Pink, and we're building the In Pink marketplace to hire female freelancers in the music industry and beyond. And women actually make 50% of what men make on digital platforms like Fiverr, so we're developing an AI fair pay scale, as well as an AI matching tool for clients in the music industry to hire diverse women. So ask me anything.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Good. Great.
So my name is Alston. I'm the founder and CEO of Diverse Connect. We're basically a geographical discovery search engine for the creative economy. So whether you're in music, fashion, social media, entertainment, design, or tech, You're able to come onto the platform and discover other creators at any stage of their creative career, and collaborate, discover, and make sure you strengthen your network.
Yeah, I'm Justin Kerr. I'm co-founder of Rebel. How do I put it? We're a community-based streaming platform that brings artist royalties to the digital economy. My background is in accounting. I'm not exactly a public speaker. I started playing drums when I was 7 years old. Played professionally when I was 16. So yeah, I have a lot of experience getting my rights stolen. My focus is making sure that artists get paid fairly for what they're doing. Artists register for 1 out of 4 royalty types right now, and majority of artists do. And people aren't getting paid fair. So our focus is making sure that artists get what they deserve for their music and they maximize their income.
So does anybody in here want to be brave enough to ask the first question?
I have a question for Romain. I actually know about Luma because you guys use Reddit as a platform to I tried to use Groover, but I did notice it was in France, and I was wondering, are you guys like international now, and how would you say that you match up with your competitor SubmitHub?
Yeah. So actually, like, we started in France, but also we always develop a global community since the beginning of Groover. Now we have close to 400k artists who are signed up to the platform all over the world, like in the US, in Europe, in Latin America as well. And we have a community of curators, radios, blogs, media outlets that you can connect with on the platform that are all over the world as well. So you can really be based in New York and reach out to people in the UK or in France, or the opposite around. So I think that we started in Europe, but we always like develop the US market a lot. That's why I moved here.
TwoCar had a partnership with Groover as well the last like 3-4 years. And like that was global scale. So we had it was one of our strongest like artist services. I'm not at TwoCar anymore, but like while I was there, we had a global audience like that they were serving in multiple languages.
Exactly. And so to your other question, we want to be different from other platforms like us, like SubmitHub being like maybe the closest competitor to what we do, by providing a more diverse roster of curators you can reach on Groover, so you can connect with media outlets, radios, YouTube channels, SoundCloud channel, not only like Spotify playlists in like a local space, but export your music differently as well, so you can provide more opportunity and unlock new things on Groover as well.
Okay, that's amazing, thank you. I think your transparency on Reddit actually makes your platform stand out a lot better than SubmitHub. So
yeah, thanks a lot. Glad to hear that.
I think we had another question over here.
Another question for Brian. So I wanted to ask you what the future of data management looks like for AI and just other applications that you feel like you've been working on and what you think is like in store for kind of like that field for like the next 5 to 10 years.
So I feel like the future of data management for AI is trying to make it as optimal as possible and trying to remove as much of human beings as possible that can be used to potentially waste time on doing robust tasks that AI could be taking care of at a very optimal and higher level. So companies aren't necessarily going to be looking to remove AI, remove the human aspect of data management immediately, but they want to definitely transition into a path where they can be focusing and spending their resources on products and developments that are going to be producing way more output to them than robust tasks like collecting data.
And then to your point, I say early stages of TAP, but then I'm talking about 8 months ago. Kind of early stages of kind of our data management. I had a couple automated sources to help pile in data for us to be able to train models effectively, for us to be able to run any kind of accurate analytics. And Brian, originally it was him and a small group of people that were going through and manually making sure that either a couple profiles were looking good or the outputs of some of our automated streams were looking fine, and they were doing this very manually. But I'd say at this point, Brian and someone else on our team, Charles, have gotten to the point where a lot of what they do now is also automated, where they're looking through and making sure that they're, all the different diverse data sources we get don't have duplicates or don't have all these. They've kind of like, even though they're not the engineering team per se, they've found a lot of automated ways to automate this.
Speaking into your question, like on how like our tasks have changed, like doesn't necessarily need to be specifically like from AI helping manage the data, but even though AI is obviously involved, we are able to focus on like bigger processes like managing the interns or taking care of how data can be brought in and managed from a lot larger scale than just like entering a venue one particular time or working with like a performer's profile one particular time.
Awesome. I think we had another question back here as well.
Yeah, my question, apologies, I forgot your name.
Justin.
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah.
So I'm an artist. I wanted to know what are the steps you're making to get artists paid more?
Oh, so I have a question for you. Are you registered in Sound Exchange?
On what?
Are you registered in Sound? God bless you.
Bless you.
Are you registered in Sound Exchange?
No.
Are you registered at the Mechanical Licensing Collective?
No.
Okay. Do you have a PRO?
No.
Okay. How do you get your
You
music
know what
out?
PRO is?
Yes.
Okay. How do you get your music out?
I use
TuneCore. Okay. So you're getting 1 out of 4 royalty types right now. I could potentially double your money tomorrow off your stream. Immediately. Just like, I could sit down with you, register your stuff. The point of what we're doing is making it so that I don't personally have to go head to head and do that. Then on top of it, now that we got your money all collected, right? And we have it all centralized in one place. What if you had the opportunity to, let's say, sell your future royalty streams? What if I told you you could cut a deal where, let's say you say, I don't know, maybe you put up your future royalty streams for one of your songs for $1,000, okay? Someone else will pay you $1,000, keep your royalty stream until they earn, let's say, $1,500. Then the royalty stream reverts back to you. Would you want to do something like that?
sounds interesting.
Yeah, right? Because you get your rights back at the end of it. So immediately I've doubled your money, and then on top of it I can put $1,000 in your pocket. And you can keep doing that song after song after song. There's an entire economy that exists. There's only 5 major players that invest in music, right? You have what? Universal, Sony, Warner, you got BlackRock. Hypnosis Song Fund paid $500 million for Beyonce's catalog. They just got bought out by BlackRock. All of these companies are going to be looking for some sort of exit, right? And they just have to sell to each other. When we do what we're doing and collect the royalties and prove it out with you and your catalog, then we're going to go knock on the doors of Universal, Sony, Warner. We're going to do the same thing with them.
Thank you.
I actually have a question, Shira and Alicia. I know you two have gotten really far, like especially in the tech industry, and I know a lot of people in the past who have came to the panels, especially with you, because this is her first time here with us, but you came like the past 3 times. Like, you have been such an inspiration for a lot of people, because obviously being a female in the tech space is not easy. How have you guys been able to get so far, and do you guys want to talk more about like that experience in general for some of the people that are in here?
For sure. First thing is don't give up. It is definitely challenging raising funds as a female founder and just in general. Community is huge. I'm part of a lot of communities and mastermind groups. If anyone's interested, come talk to me after, and I'll let you know how I got into that. But I think resilience for any gender. It's just there's building a company, like there's so much rejection that goes with it, whether you're fundraising, whether you're trying to get partnerships, sales, and so it's just like staying in the game and believing in yourself and finding those mentors, that will help kind of fill in the gaps of the things that you don't know that you're still learning. But I will say, like, it sucks. Like, it's getting worse. I don't know if you guys read. There's an article that just came out Axios the last 2 years. And women are just getting like a smaller piece of the pie, and it's insane. But I can't quit. Like then I'll be part of the problem, right? So it's just like staying in it and trying to find, you know, your champions. And I'm grateful we received an investment from Live Nation. And you know, they at the time had this Live Nation Women Initiative, and so, you know, in that instance, you know, it worked in our favor. And then I talked to an investor and I said, oh, you know, we got invested in Live Nation Women. I was all proud, and they're like, just say Live Nation, you know, like it, like having the women sort of somehow discounted it, you know. And so and then of course diversity is under attack right now, and that's not just for women, it's for all minority groups. And you know, and you just gotta stick with it, and everything's cyclical and will come back around. And so I mean, that's the best advice I could give. But Alicia, what do you think?
What I like to walk into a room and say, and this took like a lot of time for me to grow into, is that a uterus is stronger than any balls you can come across. I can make people. I don't see no balls walking around making people. You hit a uterus, I get hit every month. Okay? Balls get hit, you're out. Okay? So we're pretty strong.
That's resilience for you.
I make shit happen. I walk in a room, I say, I'm gonna make you rich, give me your money. Drop the mic, walk out. They'll follow me.
Right.
That's how I
I think somebody else had their hand raised back here.
Big Lish energy.
I guess Austin, I had a question for you as well. Austin, what are you doing specifically? Because I know you are obviously an early stage startup. You're also out here in New York City, and you're trying to get a bunch of creatives and creators onto your platform. What are you actively doing right now? Because you guys are pre-seed, or even you guys don't have any angel investment, correct?
Yeah, we're in the pre-seed round right now.
Okay.
So basically what Diverse Connect, you know, as its core competency is, it's basically a bridge for the creative industries to interact with each other. So my background, I've worked in the music industry, the Web3 industry, the financial industry. When I was in the music industry, I was at Rock Nation and Epic Records. Right now I'm the chief of staff for a joint venture with 2 record labels with Warner and Republic Records. So, you know, being able to see that at a high level, especially because at the same time I do make music, and you know, to my core, I'm a businessman. I've been able to see that it's very difficult for emerging, aspiring, independent artists to make it, especially when it comes down to a limited amount of resources. And that's where the platform that we're building is, so that we're able to limit the barrier of entries for somebody to find those resources. So, you know, for example, everybody in this room, because of Creator Week and Tapped, we're all able to be here. But if there was a real streamlined way within a 3-mile radius to find every recording artist, you know, from where we are right now, or producer, engineer, mixer, master, photographer, videographer, songwriter, etc., we basically help bridge that gap so that people in all stages are able to amplify their work without the resources that a lot of us may have, just because of who we know or the jobs that we have.
Awesome. Anybody have another question?
Yeah, I just wanted to keep the ball rolling on that one actually. Was it Alston, or is that right? Yeah, I quit my job last week, like a software job.
You quit because of Tapped AI, right?
No, that would be a good story though.
Just say yes and we can clip it out after. No.
I quit my software job. I quit my software job to do music full time. So literally, that is like, I am your target audience. So like, let's talk after this. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's kind of inverse, because when I was working at Epic Records, I was basically the executive assistant to the executive vice president of promotion, and I absolutely hated it. It was just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, I was like, how can I do the most while I'm at this job, which on paper they say is going to bring me to the next level, but I felt like my growth was stunted. So I actually went to coding school, and that's how I was able to pursue Diverse beyond just an idea. I was able to just say, hey, you know what, let me pursue it, and now we're here, right?
What do you like about coding?
What do I like about coding?
Yeah.
just like making music,
Yeah,
right? Like you know, like
Yeah,
you can
it's
have
making
making anything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a producer, engineer, recording artist, graphic design here and there. But when it came down to the coding, it was full stack. So I was able to be like, wow, not only is it that the interaction with what I'm looking at has so much planning and attention to detail from the front end, but then the things that really can't be seen, like the back end or the intermediaries with like firmware, hardware, API routes, etc. That's the beautiful thing, and I just wanted to find a way where it's seamless for somebody that doesn't know technology with people that just have the fundamental skills of creation.
I know you had your hand raised, my man.
Yeah. You know, I'm curious. A lot of the companies up here are focusing on proactive protections of music, of the music industry, whether that's rights or whatever. We know this industry is ran by 3 major companies, Universal, Sony, and Warner, which are uniquely hesitant to change. So for all of you that are going into kind of the new step of music, how do you introduce change to this industry that is really doesn't want to fucking talk to you? Like, they don't want to hear your ideas.
I can answer that.
So this goes in.
So from the tech industry, I mean, like 7 years ago, people were talking about like, oh my God, will we have a Spotify killer? Is this going to be a Spotify killer? Nobody talks about a Spotify killer after TikTok came around.
Now they want the TikTok killer. Yeah.
People don't even say TikTok killer anymore because they can't even fathom. They're like, oh my God, we don't know what's going on anymore. They wish they could think of a TikTok killer, but they can't even understand what TikTok is doing, much less ByteDance. They don't even know if we're even gonna have TikTok in the country anymore. Like, they're so, like, I feel like the whole industry, like when it comes to like the music industry is actually very small in the grand scheme of like what is happening in the world. So when you look at the change, the pace of change across the music industry from like the early 90s when it almost died, like literally about 75% of the music industry was laid off. And it was we almost didn't have music anymore. you just didn't have a music business in the US. But if you look at Japan, the Japan retail market didn't die. And that's because their government invested in keeping physical retail. So like you have to think of it at a global scale because that is the music industry that we're at now. And like the US has a ton of money, but Japan has a way better margin for like making money in the music industry, and it's growing. But K-pop and Korea, they're a global scale. BTS is like one of the best in just the Japanese market alone. Like Sony or Universal, one of them, whichever major label brought them on, is making more money than all of their whole catalog for Taylor Swift and all the other top ones. So like when it comes back to like, oh, how do you make change in the music industry based on these like big group of like small players? They are not as big as ByteDance, Spotify, even, but most importantly, Meta, Apple, Google, Alphabet. Sorry, not Google.
I think also to add on to that, in my experience, people in the music industry are starting to see that they are, in the grand scheme of things, as small as Alicia's saying, and the people that really are noticing this versus the ones that aren't highlight kind of a generational divide from people that we've spoken to. Like, you know, building my company, talking to people, there seems to be 45 and under. Anyone in that age bracket becomes the generation that recognizes how tech can help music grow, can help songs get discovered, can help artists get paid, can mix music with other media as well, which is why TikTok has been so successful as well. So I think the legacy parts of the music industry, at this point, they're getting ready for retirement. They're set in their ways, but it seems like the younger generation within the music industry are a lot more open to embracing startups like ours, embracing technological change, and also embracing bigger artists. You know, it's not just BTS. Universal acquired Maven Records, so all the biggest Afrobeats artists now under Universal's belt. So now they're starting to just acquire catalogs. Middle Eastern music is taking off in the same way. That's why you have Marshmello, DJ Snake making songs, all these artists too. So people are now recognizing that it's become a lot bigger than just the US market, but it's mainly young people driving this change. And so for anyone here who's also a founder, also bringing startups, find those people because they will be your champions, especially if you're of a diverse background like some of us here on the stage as well.
Well, to your point, like his product is about sync. That gentleman back there, he didn't know about, like, he didn't set up anything related to publishing and PRO, but he's on TuneCore. TuneCore has TuneCore publishing. Like he has like all of these additional ways of generating revenue. Everyone's focusing on like streaming and Spotify, but like you make more money on YouTube than Spotify. Like,
yeah,
so
that's
like,
a problem. That's a serious problem. Okay, so anyway, we're going to sit down and we're going to make intellectual property right now, together, all of us, right? That's what we're doing.
I'm putting it on Peloton.
And that's worth far more money than if we sat down and made a song. Why is that? Can you honestly tell me that your favorite song is worth less than us hanging out here? And that's the fundamental issue. And the change in the music industry, every change in the music industry, the door has been kicked in. Napster kicked in the fucking door. And then it was in a whole mess. Spotify showed up and forced the change upon the industry, right? So these people that own these catalogs, the catalogs are extremely valuable. Imagine watching Jaws without music, right? Music has extreme value in video games, in sync, in everything we do. So the industry may be undervalued. Music has the lowest price per hour of any medium, right? Music has been pushed down.
This drink costs more than my Spotify subscription for a month.
So you know, and I'm an old man sitting here with all you young kids, but I was there, right? I was there spending all my money on music, right? It will happen again. You will spend money on music again. Like the value has to go up or it will go to zero and then we'll just be listening to the same stuff over and over again. Or an AI regurgitated processing. And I don't see a problem with AI at all. I just think that the things that are going in need to be credited when they're coming.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people imagine the music industry, because it is like people don't think of the music industry as a regulated market, but it is like a regulated market run by this cartel of people. But I think from the outside it can look like in 1984, where it's just like these kind of big nations, but nobody ever wins. It's just like static. But I think the music industry is too chaotic. Like they're always, even the execs at the music industry might think, okay, like where the Sony's always going to exist or Universal's always going to exist, but eventually something's going to shake it up where they can't handle it anymore and they're just going to fall apart. I know at Tapped personally, like our edge is all three of those labels. Outside of Sony does this a little bit, or some of their sub labels don't deal with live music. So right now with recorded music being insane right now and nobody making money off of streaming, and there being all these different kind of other ways to make music, like with or make money off of music with sync, that are kind of like smaller artists are finally starting to realize that they could use these tools just like the majors. We just focus on live music because it's a lot less gated. Like we're not kind of in this regulated garden per se. Anybody can play live while you have your own set of cartel leaders in live music, like Live Nation. They're also in hot water, and while they also think that they're going to rule the world forever and always be a thing, they're going to get shaken up, whether it's the US government or just technology in general, like Tapped.
You guys are definitely doing that at Tapped, and it's amazing technology.
The Live Nation's shaking in its boots. They're shaking.
I don't know them, but I've seen.
You can't say that with her right there, and she got investment from
Oh, yeah, wait.
Listen, do your thing.
I got you.
Somebody's got to build the railroad for the future trains to run on, and that's what's really great about Tapped, because like no one's building the connected railroad to like connect all the states, if you will, and like that's what Tapped is doing in the live event space.
Yeah, because like if you wanted to right now, like imagine you didn't know about all these other cool startups that are going to help you make money, but if you just wanted to go out and make like what are your options to try to make revenue off of your music, because you're not making anything off of Spotify. You can sell merch, which you could set up a Shopify store, but if you're not a pro at marketing, like that's going to be a little rough. Or you could do live shows and make money that way, which if you're selling live shows, that's generally where most of your merch is getting bought anyway.
So with those being the kind of two main avenues for you to make money, then at Tapped, our main, our like primary metric for success is the number, the like quantity of bookings a performer is getting. Like if we take somebody who's like got stage fright, they sit in their studio and they make their own music, but they don't ever go out and play, we try to get them out of their shell and give them like using like a lot of hard kind of logical data to show them you can make money doing this. These people will book you. Here are the bills to get on, just to crack them out and get as many performances as they can. Because right now, that's the number one way that you're going to make money.
And then secondary to that, also, if you're a smaller artist, sync really is involved in that, because now, because of just the volume of videos that companies and brands put out on social media, the ads that power all our streaming services, all the episodes behind all the shows on all the streaming services, it's pretty much the same thing. Like at Cypher, our metric for success is very similar, where instead of number of live bookings, it's how many sync placements are you going to get as an artist. And so for someone like you who's trying to make money, that's another way where you just reach out to brands, and each license is priced differently, so you can really have the more syncs you get and the more music you make that's catered to specific types of content. So we work with sports teams, so if you make music that works great with sports highlights, or a Love Island episode that transition from like one scene to the next, or an ad, you can really leverage your music and your sound in a way that empowers you then to make money across the board for all kinds of videos.
Yeah. And who just quit their job to do music full time? I hope you have performances locked up every week, because that's how you're gonna survive making money. Is
what about? I actually have a question on that. What about like direct to fan engagement?
I know the Pinpoint guys were here at some point, but I know that's like one of the new hot like topics with.
Job at a music startup doing direct to fan as a software.
What music startup?
FanPad.
Okay, no. Yeah,
so
I know that.
But they were actually making a lot of traction, but I just chose not that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I've seen a lot of startups running in that space, because that's like the new. It's like Vault was like the big one to come out with like direct to fan. Yeah, I used to work at Audius, and Audius is a Web3 SoundCloud, and they had their own direct to fan because it was, with them being Web3, it was easier to facilitate monetization cross borders. So you could do tipping and stuff like that, and you didn't have to worry where the artist was from. And you could also do like fan unlocks with NFTs and all that kind of fancy stuff. Because
like monetization strategies, engagement strategies, fan data collection,
yeah,
like owning your fan data. Like I think that's like a huge like for artists. But it's like, again, these tools are being developed. I think Lilo's probably like ahead on this, but that's, in my head, that was because for me, I want to produce, mix, and master. So I make my own songs, but they're mostly, you know, like I don't envision myself like performing. Although maybe Tap could change that, but like I think that most of my income will be from working with other artists, right? Or making my own stuff and then engaging directly with the fans, because for me, I just love the creating process of it. Like performing, I guess it's exposure or whatever it is, like it's not like as much of a interest to me at the moment, right? So like for someone like me, what would you like recommend, I guess, or you?
Because I'm pretty sure Spotify, and somebody can correct me if they know better, but I think Spotify ran a study on some kind of direct-to-artist play, and realized, like, for one, most musicians nowadays complain that they're content creators on TikTok, and that's all they do. And direct-to-fan just turns that up to 11. Now you're really like a content creator going direct to fans. And for some people, that's just not their cup of tea. If that's your thing, then maybe it could kind of work. I don't see it as being the kind of like one size fit all thing of like, okay, now hey, we just fixed the starving artist paradigm, like, oh, this is great. I think it's going to be it's a potential revenue source for some people, but if you're not the kind of person who wants to make content all the time, like if I would not be the kind of person who'd be great at direct to fan, then it's just another thing for you that's probably not going to be making a whole lot of money. But for some people, that might be I know a lot of artists who make money off of Patreon, so for them it could be a thing. But I'm pretty sure Spotify did some like
but by the numbers, like in terms of like direct to fan, you're gonna make more money on YouTube. That's just the bottom line. Like the margins are better. Like you have to be a content creator, and then to his point, like if you are not a content creator type of personality to be able to do that several times a day, so like even Spotify and other platforms say on average you have to post 3 to 5 times a day minimum. So like if you aren't releasing and publishing 3 to 5 times a day minimum as a content creator on Spotify, on YouTube, and then you gotta go to TikTok and like all the other platforms, Instagram as well. Like, and each of those formats are different. Like, if you are not a content creator type of person, like you're just not going to be able to do all that. So if you had to choose one, you should choose YouTube, and then you can create shorts that you can then push over to TikTok if you are not a content creator. If you are a content creator, lean in on TikTok because you're going to get a ton of discovery, and you can like go all out there and export it out to Instagram and YouTube, but you can monetize better on YouTube. TikTok is like expanding their music platform and like their whole music engagement for like how they monetize all of that. So it's a really good like early stage like YouTube Shorts type of model where you can like be an early adopter of what they're doing over the next year.
And then reconsider your stance on performances.
Well, how about we do this too? We have a bunch of startup founders here, right? He just quit his job. What if we have everybody vouch 1 month for free for your premium subscription for him, and he gets it from all of us? I can't speak for you guys, but we can speak on Tapped, and we'll do that.
The gritty and pink one would be wild. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that wouldn't work for within reason. Within reason.
As a woman.
Well, I could give you a discount
judge. I don't know.
Well, you might want to hire women to collaborate with or to help with content.
Very true.
So yeah, I could.
You did say you wanted to work with other people.
So that's the collaboration, like you said, you want to be more behind the scenes, helping to produce and create. That is like if you want to collaborate, I think Gritty and Pink is like a great platform to work with, to be able to find collaborators, and that is actually the way a lot of like real musicians make their money. I mean, Nashville runs on like songwriters and producers, just like behind the scenes, like churning out songs. Don't get me started on Sweden. That whole country's just trained on like making music, and they just like write songs as a country. So like you can make really good money on that. And then when it comes to live events, like you can go and like connect with like live event performers because they always need somebody to bring in like a new voice and a new vibe. So I don't think you should discredit live because like that is actually where musicians that are in the front running are making money. Like you can't like most artists. I mean, despite my background and in my career, most artists are not making money on only streaming. Like they're making money on live and they're building their careers and they're building their profile. That's how Ed Sheeran got out there. And he was distributing entirely through TuneCore, and then like all the big labels ignored him, and he was distributing through TuneCore. He did live performances, and that's how he got big.
And also, like to jump on that, I think that the choosing between like I do live or I do streaming and content creation is not like necessarily a one or the other.
Yes,
like, both
yes.
can or like nourish themselves.
I guess you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry to interrupt this your flow, but like we can all kind of agree that streaming is not a major source of revenue, or so at the moment. And I guess that's one of the problems we're trying to tackle. Like
you're not gonna
TBD. Yeah, like at this point, streaming is not something I'm like focusing on right now. It's kind of like building a core audience, right? Building my 100 people, my 1,000 people.
Then go play live.
Then go play live. That's how you build that.
You're right. That's definitely one of the ways. And I think
the best. It's already done. You don't have to do any more.
I started playing drums when I was 7 years old. I started playing drums professionally when I was 16 years old. The only way ever gained any fans, and I was by the time I stopped, I sold out the Metro 3 times in Chicago, right? So it's a 1,000-person venue. You should know that. Anyway, the point is, the only traction we ever got was from playing live. And then we got attention from MTV, we got on the radio, we got everything.
What was your band?
They were called The Record Vote. But what is your band called? What are you calling yourself?
So I use my last name, all caps, Abdi, A-B-D-I. That's like my artist name, producer name, whatever it's gonna be.
If you don't want to lean into the performance and make yourself a performer, sync really might be your best option because it eliminates the need to make yourself a content creator, and you're kind of behind the scenes on where the music you have empowerment over where the music goes, and you can charge a premium because, you know, if it's going towards a seasonal commercial, like a Christmas commercial or a Super Bowl commercial, that's going to command a pretty high fee very quickly, as opposed to waiting years, if anything, for the streaming royalties to catch up to that. And on top of that, you can then establish relationships with the people that you sync with, so that way it becomes more of a relationship based job for you, and the income is a lot more steady. So that could be, if you really are against performing, I think that might be your best bet revenue wise.
Not against performing. It's like, it's just something that I haven't explored, I guess. But yeah, I think like, what are your thoughts on?
If anything, there's really, my stance on this is that there's never been a better time to be an independent artist in the music industry than now, because of all the avenues to make money that we've just described. So like, my first recommendation for you: sign up to a PRO, sign up to Sound Exchange, sign up to MLC, like he said. So understand where all the revenue streams in music come from before you even put your music out there, before you go live, before you sync it out, because doing that will make your life so much easier when it's time to actually perform or actually license out your work down the line.
And if you go for a deal and you haven't registered, you're gonna show up and they're like, you're gonna say, oh, I need $1,000 for the song. It's like, you aren't. I'll immediately know you're not registered for half your shit. And I'll be like, you're a joke, man. You're not even registered. You don't know what you're doing.
You could sign up
one last question, so that I don't take up but, in your opinion, I guess on the ranking of like getting a core audience, you would say live shows, number one, and then number two would be probably like content, and then what would be the ranking for getting like your core, like the core audience, I guess, right?
What do you want from your core audience?
I guess knowing who they are, being able to honestly, I guess, like directly sell them either the merch or like whatever it is. Having you, like, so I guess there's three different things, right? Trust, usage, and money. Like, you have to pick one at a time to scale. So right now I'm doing like usage, so like the amount of people listening, just so I can have the maximum number of people that are actually looking at my art. And then trust would be like the followers or whatever, but that all of that converts eventually into money. So it would just be another source of income, but it would be from people who actually care about my art. So that would be the answer to your question.
I'd love to actually answer this question.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at it too much like an engineer. You're like, how can I optimize being an artist? And I come from like a creative background. I know all these people are technical, but you as a performer, like there are some people, and they're all creative as well. I'm not undermining you guys at all. I chose them on this panel. I curated them. I love these guys. But look, you're thinking too much like an engineer, bro. It's a creative process. It's within you. You have to see what your community wants. And at the end of the day, you have to look at your strengths too.
Isn't the best way to see that to actually make the content and see what people need?
Yes, but not in mind thinking like, oh, if I put this content on, I do more content than shows, then it's just like you'll see what your community wants, dial into that, and feed them.
I know all of you guys are doing awesome stuff. Like I'm not taking.
No, you're good. You're good.
You also have to give yourself time to develop your artistry. It's not a startup.
Yes.
She's very eager. What do you want to say?
Let's give her. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I think everyone's forgetting about like the number one thing that when artists submit to Spotify, you have one chance to submit to official Spotify playlists. Everyone's fighting for that chance because that puts you literally in the top pick of Spotify and puts you on the front page. And basically, if you don't get that chance, if your song doesn't get picked, because you only submit it once, it's one new song, there's only one other option, which is user-generated playlists, which actually Groover, not to be like an ad for Groover, but Groover
Thank you.
is the platform that bridges this gap, because if you don't get that, if you don't know someone from Spotify and you're not like affiliated with the label, Spotify might not pick you. And Groover basically what it does is like it has connections to all the blogs, like music blogs are still extremely powerful, and it has connections to like user generated playlists. A lot of people on Spotify, they create playlists that get maybe even more views, more listens than the editorial playlist. So
I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact because like I have partnered with Brown University, Columbia University, as well as Black Lion, where I'm a CTO of. And like Black Lion builds a AI-powered music fintech platform that analyzes data from Chartmetrics as well as other companies for labels. So like when labels are looking at an artist and going, what are you worth? they look at like they kind of create a credit score, if you will, for like what your value is, and like that's the tool that we built, and that's what several large labels and like companies use, and like so user generated playlist is actually the key indicator of if you're going to be viral or not. And like Billie Eilish is an amazing example for that, because Billie Eilish had a ton of user generated playlists, and she had no engagement on Spotify at all when she went out. The reason why is because she like was sourced from Apple, but like she wasn't sourced from like Spotify's world. So like Spotify didn't see her as like a top artist. And like so if you looked at the metrics for like the performance of her song, Spotify thinks that she's not popular. But Apple and like all of these user generated playlists that were generated on Spotify's platform show that she had over 9 million like listens in like just like a few weeks. And Spotify's like, but if you only looked at Spotify's popularity score, and I'm talking APIs a bit here, but if you like, because that's the data that I was looking at, if you looked at only their popularity score, you wouldn't know that. So like user-generated playlist is actually the top way of being able to make it. You could get on so many editorial playlists, but like nobody under 40-something is looking at those.
But how would you don't know the users that make those playlists?
You can if you leverage Groover to actually get like connected with like other users that like are people who create playlists, who like give feedback on music, and who have trusted audience. You want the person who has 100 people who listen to them and do what they say, versus some like company that has like 1 million people who don't care.
Yeah, and just on the user-generated playlist, that is of course a topic that we cover a lot with Groover, and that is an amazing leverage for you as an artist to create this early community that you need at the beginning of your journey. I think that two things are super important when you want to leverage that. The first thing is like playlist safe, like try to find the right ones if you want to submit your music to those kind of user-generated playlists, because some can be like scammy or like can ask you for money for placement, not in a good way, in a healthy way. So with Groover, we try to vet all the curators who are on the platform to be sure that you can connect with genuine people who can love your music and share it. So at the end, it's a leverage to meet new fans. And the second thing is like, as well, something that is powerful with user-generated playlists is that it creates a ripple effect on the algorithm, because the more you get user-generated playlists, the more you get picked by the algorithm, and the more you get streamed. So there is a positive outcome from the user-generated playlist, but also from the algorithm that is leveraging the fact that you are on the user-generated playlist. So it's a good way at the beginning, if you don't want to do live shows and you don't want to do content, to tap into this curators, radios, blogs, people who can increase a bit the awareness of your music at the beginning. But of course, like I think that creating a more directed financial point, whether it's like by playing live and meeting with people or sharing your stuff online, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram, can nourish a bit more for sure if you do it consistently, the awareness that your music will get, because that's what you want at the end of the day. You want to connect with the fan, a real relationship, and better fan than a massive follower account that doesn't relate to your music properly. So that would be my take on user-generated playlists and how you create this community at the beginning of your release.
And make sure you connect on Rebel so that you can know that you have the appropriate rights together.
100 users.
We're getting 100,000. All right, guys. Well, we got one more question, then we're gonna wrap it up. Neural.
I'm terrible on names. I forgot your name.
Ferris.
So I have a question. So as an artist, what are steps I can get to like sync on like a video game, like 2K, for example?
To get on a game like 2K?
Like 2K.
Well, it depends on, for gaming, it depends on the game. So 2K and FIFA and Madden and those like sports games and NCAA, like they usually have entire music teams dedicated to specifically finding artists for this kind of stuff. And so it's a bit similar to the editorial process that goes on with Groover. Alternatively, it depends on if you want your song synced to a scene in the game versus just to be featured in the playlist of the game overall. Those are two different processes. And so if there's so if it's a playlist, you got to make sure that your music is out there and recognizable enough so that a music supervision team, a curatorial team at EA, at 2K can find you. But otherwise, if it's a scene in the game and there's like a way that your music can be fit in there, you have a bit more leverage where if you find that person, you can send them your stuff. Or through platforms like ours, that's where that connection then ends up happening.
And I wouldn't discount the rest of it. There's a mentor of mine, and although he's a record producer, so he doesn't try to get on any of the playlists, but he does. His main source of revenue is sync licensing. He doesn't use any kind of marketplace. He's like an old head in the music industry, goes through traditional channels, but the majority of his revenue is him making this catalog of not really music, but stuff that could fit in a commercial that he's made. And it's a very lucrative thing that he's got going on of getting them placed. Luckily, he's like an old head in the music industry and has all the connections, which means a lot. But rather than him just getting specific songs slotted in for the playlist, he just makes racks, creating very kind of like, I don't want to call it generic because it's not generic, but stuff that's it's not a song that you would listen to. It's something that would slot into a commercial or like a jingle or something like that he would get in, and that's shockingly lucrative.
In the music industry, there's actually a term for it. You have in music two types of music. There's primary music where it's art. That's the main focus of what you're doing. But then what you have is secondary music, and this goes back to 1950s radio, where the whole point was it's music to just be in the background of someone talking. And then it spilled over into advertising, and now it's become this lucrative market that Johannes is describing today, where there's so many different media types just for secondary music, where the music is not even that good. And that's where now you have stock music, royalty-free stuff, even AI music. I really think AI music can take over that component of it.
I have a question for that. If we have time for one more question from me, how do you think the tools like Suno are going to transform that secondary market? Because when I first saw the demo, that was the first thing that clicked in my head of like, oh, this is going to change sync licensing. Yeah. This is going to be crazy.
I mean, at my company, our perspective is that Suno and Udio, they're mainly, my bet is that it's mainly going to affect stock music and royalty-free stuff, because as a business, as a brand, if you're paying for a stock song or like a royalty-free song for your advertisement, it's already an indicator that you don't really care about the quality of the song, or that the music is not the priority in whatever you're recording as part of your project. So if music really isn't your priority, then tools like Suno and Udio are bringing the cost of your ad down significantly.
Yeah.
It's becoming so much cheaper to make very milquetoast, mediocre music, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But what isn't going to change, or what we're waiting to see rather, is how commercial music gets impacted by this. Because there's two ways it can go. The value of commercial music, where we know the artists, they're recognizable, and we know that ad. I don't know if anyone was watching the NBA playoffs, that Wingstop commercial with No Flex Zone. We all know Ray Shremmerd, we all know No Flex Zone. With tools like AI music and Suno and Udio, the price for that song might become more valuable, just because now we recognize that there's a human element. I've heard it on the radio, I've heard it on Spotify. Might stay the same. I think it all depends on how they decide the copyrights issues, how rights is basically determined for this AI music. Because if ultimately they decide that no, everyone's going to be compensated fairly, and somehow they can source what songs were sampled for an AI song, then the value might not change much. But if there's a clear distinction between a really bad AI song for all intents and purposes and a very recognizable song, the value of that might shoot up. And so then it's in your interest as an artist to make sure that the human element of your work is there, whether you share that on social media as a content creator, or you add that into the music itself to make people feel that human touch a bit more, to make your work more valuable. I feel like those are the main ways that sync as a market will change overall.
Awesome.